Could you
Say
repeat
I.
that one more time for the record, GodOfMerp?
Yes, Lord Gecko. Say I if you vote that we strip Bean of every title he could possibly have, make him a peasant permanently in this faction. Even if he leaves and rejoins, he will never be able to gain power in this faction. Or any other factions for that matter.
I
I say nay. I don't see this as enforceable.
What?
Okay. Or do we banish him from this faction? And if Polis wishes to banish him from them. Wait, some people said, kid, yay, yes or no to this? Let him stay? Okay, let's see here. It's 2 votes for no for banish, 2 for
say ban.
Gecko.
I would have him banished from the lands themselves. I don't think it was
Man.
clarified in the Septim No Contractum what exactly the... how
Well,
should I
I'll
say?
bring up the third
How
option.
exactly a
I'll bring up.
situation like this is meant to be dealt with. Granted, I did not sign on to the Septim No Contractum.
Hmm, I'll bring you all your third. Maybe, kid. I don't know myself.
Well, no, that's a
I'll bring up the
valid
third and
point. Let's
final
bring that
option.
up. Hold
Oh,
on. So, most of the people who signed the Septim No Contractum are dead. At that point, how valid does the contract stand?
it stands with the people, Gecko.
I would like to counteract your statements, Gecko.
Feel
Just
free.
as long as it was in effect, just because people are dead doesn't necessarily mean they didn't still sign off on it.
Well, that's the problem
At
I'm
a
talking
time, it
about.
was still valid, but now,
So,
even with their signatures, it's still valid. You can't just unwrite it. So I
the
think it's
problem
still
I'm not
a
talking
valid
about
document.
is whether or not the document is valid, but whether or not any of these sanctions would be enforceable. I completely agree that, and I believe wholeheartedly that this would work short term, possibly for a month or so. But as people's minds slowly begin to forget or forgive him for this crime he committed against the people of the TKH lands, people are slowly going to begin no crime.
Kid,
The
are you
man in the
mad?
back
Do
raises his
explain.
hand.
Yes, man in the back.
A couple weeks ago, I went to church and Bean was there. We held his baptism. Is he not a changed man?
I would like
Things
to
are different.
counteract both you and Kid's
You-
statements.
Is he
Uh,
not a septum?
I'm not sure if anybody remembers, but for a short
A
amount
kid
of
yells in the
time, not
back,
too long
"Tainted
ago,
blood!"
somebody in this room had kidnapped me and put me in prison
All right,
against my
enough.
will
Shush.
under Bean's orders. This was noted to
Under.
me quite recently, and
Wait.
that's kind of the reason I am here today. Main reason I am here today. I don't think that his actions were justifiable. Kid, you were the one who was part of the group. So why don't do you have proof?
I mean, I think one thing that should be brought up is Bean's past record of ruling nations as well.
This is the main concern here.
Yeah. Like, no, it's not just Septim No Contractum that should be brought into order. It's also just the fact that none of Bean's previous rulings have gone well.
I think all of us agree that he needs to be removed from power. That's not the question here.
Yes.
It's the
But
question
at the
of how, at what point do we stop with removing him from power? Obviously, he's going to be forced to relinquish his power of Eastwind. The problem I'm concerned with is how long that will last, because eventually he will take power again, just as he has in the past.
Well, when that happens, the people
Turn.
will up.
All right, listen. All right, enough debating what we do. Okay, here's a third option, a permanent option that will forever stop him from ever doing something like this again. We capture him, imprison him, hold a court date, and then there we will decide whether we permanently execute him. Who votes on that? Say aye.
I think I can agree on that.
I say we hold a court date. I
And
see no wrong with a fair court date.
All right, then.
Trial by jury.
For right now, I will be demoting him. Actually, citizens, my citizens, not Stern or Space Taco, just you, Dracone, and Kid. Do we demote Bean for now? Bring him down and off the power steps. We don't have to worry about the Septim No Contractum right now. But he'll still be convicted for the crime. Say aye. All right. He'll be demoted from co-leader to a citizen. Okay, well, let's move on to the futures and what I hope to happen. One thing I want to talk about, Gecko, is setting up trade and peace. Do you think we can form some sort of contract for that? And I'll remove the. I'm sure you've seen the map being claimed a part of your land. I'm terribly sorry about that. He is a fool and doesn't read other people's maps.
I'm aware of the claim he made. I'm not at all concerned about it. As long as the mistake is recognized and acknowledged.
All right.
As far as a contract, what would that entail? What do you want?
Permanent peace. We're the only two factions standing right now. It's best that we encourage peace between each other and trade.
Peace is a given. War doesn't help either of us, especially when both of us are thriving. Especially Eastwind. The South has too much to worry about what's going on in northern affairs.
All right. Okay, well then I'll use this book here and I'll write up a peace treaty for us, and we can privately discuss terms and whatnot for if military touch. Yeah, we'll write in this book and such, and about trade and whatnot. We'll talk about it privately, Gecko, after the meeting.
Yes.
Okay. Another thing, citizens. Kid, I heard Bean was planning on making you, I believe, the overseer of the farms in Eastwind or something like that. Yeah, that's not happening. Dracone would be the person to have that. You're going to run over. I'm now announcing it now. Kid will be running over the region as Guardia, as the mayor of Asgardia. Be leading it over, and also the owner of the general store. Handing it over to him because I trust him the most with that position. That said, citizens, anything you'd like to add on the future? What do you plan? What do you want to happen? Kid or Dracone? Anything at all?
Possibly a bank. Cause
Bank.
yeah,
Okay. I know a guy who might join.
Citizen in the back raises his hand.
Yes, citizen.
Trade day.
Trade day.
You all bring items to sell.
All right. Yeah, I'll talk to
can-
Kid about that. We'll have that in Asgardia. I don't mind. I think Kid, you can handle you can
I
set up a
say
little
you
trade.
find somewhere Kazuki to build in Eastwind.
Oh yeah, cause
Little trade shops.
we'll build multiple centers. Like markets in a way, but we'll have trade days like you suggested. Thank you, citizen. No, okay, essential. We'll have a few, Kid. Don't worry about it. Anything else?
Moving
Polis, you
forward
want to
in
add anything?
trade, something that we need, that I'm sure we could work out a deal for, is we have a incredibly large demand for builders right now. I'm aware that Kazuki is within Avalonia right now, and that does not leave him as free to build in Polis. I'm willing to allow him free reign to come into Polis as long as you are willing to allow his business to be independently contracted.
I'll allow that.
Excellent.
A citizen raises his
But
hand.
yes.
What is the final result with Bean?
Final result. Uh,
To be
let me
determined.
recount. To be determined. Yeah, it'll to be determined. Right now, the most prominent thing is jail and court date. That is what's most likely going to happen. And depending on how he pleads, guilt or innocent or guilty, or if he finds himself a lawyer, depending on the situation, it just depends on the three options. He could die that day, or he could be banished from the lands or from just this nation. Okay, one last thing before the end up, just stopping this meeting here. Citizens, I know you've probably heard Kazuki's speech about us being Avalonians. The name will be switched back to Avalonia. I'll be rewriting a few laws. Any suggestions you want, please send me a private message. I will look them over and see if they're worth the time. If you wish to be nominated for a position, if, let's say, a region's leader passes on or steps down, you can talk to me about it. Right now, though, Kid, who sucks, will be ruling over Asgardia. Zombie, the Forger, will be ruling over the northern region. Kazuki will be ruling over the Kyoshi region. And I will be ruling over Eastwind. I am as well making Eastwind our capital city. That is another option. Yes, Kid. Of course, Asgardia will most likely become the trade city for everything. The place where you trade. One last thing, I forgot to mention this. Polis, if you wish to build a road to, I don't know, somewhere for trade, I would help out with that.
That's
Yes,
actually
Dracone?
something the South has been looking at for some... Dracone, go ahead.
Yeah. What about, I've heard of the city directly west. What will happen with that?
Theridith is a very interesting position right now. We won't be touching Theridith, personally, because the people... No, kid, they didn't go crazy. They've just been mistreated by their previous ruler. But... Kid, calm down. Alright. Don't be disrespectful. Calcutta, yeah. We don't want to be really involved with the West. It is we're too much land. We don't need that much. That's one thing Bean failed to see as well. Is we have too much land. We don't need that much land. He's too greedy in that sense. Alright, well, I'll be ending the meeting here. Isgard?
Bean.
Alright. Be ending it here.
The guard will be giving tours of the iron halls if anyone wishes to follow. If you want to be on the tour, you can stand right here in front of me.
Gecko, if you wish to talk about this in private, now would be the time.
Yes.
My grace,
Please
I
stand up.
recommend going to the small council room.